My name's Caroline Poynton from Manchester Bury, and as I've just watched about one stabbing in Belfast, and I'll just fun to put GB News on. I started to watch it before, but I turned over. And then I've come to find out there's another freaking attack in Manchester, in Blakely, in a school. What the freaking heck is going on? There's been a stabbing. There's been 2 stabbings, one last night in Belfast and one in a school in Blakely.
Co-owner David Sullivan of abusing his power and preying on them for sex while he owned the Daily and Sunday Sport papers. He has denied any wrongdoing. Before we go to my guest, let me just tell you about also, this is not a happy news day, folks. Co-op Academy School in Manchester went into lockdown this morning after 3 people were stabbed in a serious incident. 6 police cars were at the scene in Blackley, along with a helicopter hovering above as an ambulance treated victims. Students sheltered in their classrooms, parents said, as police responded to the incident. That was a Co-op Academy in Manchester. As soon as we get any more details on that, we will bring them to you here at Talk. Love to hear your response to any of the big stories we're talking about, particularly that stabbing and attempted beheading, it would appear, in Belfast, but also this £28 billion of taxpayers' money handed over to terrorists, Russia, and who knows what else. And indeed, what Kemi Badenoch has had to say, wanting to end identity politics in the public sector. Get in touch. Any of those you can get in touch on 0344 499 1000 is the number to call. Text the word talk and your message to 87222. Get in touch on X at Talk TV. Calls are charged at the national rate and text cost £1. Standard network rate message.
Organisations, what I've been saying all the time.
Henry Hill joining me for the whole show. Henry,
and they are the terrorists.
Just
we have got the
terrorists. We
don't have any
from
government.
This academy, this school, presumably a secondary school in Manchester. We don't know if the 3 people who were stabbed, reported, were pupils or teachers or staff or a combination of the 2. But certainly a very serious incident.
Yeah, I mean, what reaction can you possibly have? It's just absolutely horrifying.
Well, another one,
we heard about this the last few minutes. We spent the first third of this show talking about a horrific
now,
horrifying footage, really.
What are going to do now?
Already
there's one in Belfast.
It's a really, as you say, miserable news day. And now this one comes ticking in.
Well, people are only just talking about fucking Henry.
That this country's getting worse and more dangerous despite the statistics.
Every single minute,
This is why, right? I don't think there's ever been a point in
I'm not going
British history.
I'm not. They want me to go to work. I'm sorry. I'm not safe. I'm not lazy.
I was involved in news. I
have been looking for it. I'm not safe. I'm not getting any transport. I refuse to get on any public transport.
I don't think that happened.
Now I refuse to walk to work. I don't think I could get one in Bury and try and get a job. But it's very difficult to do that.
There's a case
and I don't drive.
Comprehensive. Not the one.
And I'd still be scared going out in a fucking car.
The other one.
Driving.
You
I really would. I wouldn't feel like stopping at traffic lights. I'd fucking be checking everything. I'd
a 12-year-old boy was stabbed. 2 14-year-old boys that were arrested for that crime last year.
It's absolutely shocking, and I think the thing is when people say, "Oh, violent crime is down," right?
It's not.
It's because we don't.
It's fucking not. How is it down? It's because they don't talk about it. It probably is being missed. If there's not public people there and it's not being filmed, they'll fucking hide it, won't they?
News. I was always interested in news.
Right, exactly. Like this sort of attack, like day after day after day, 2 on the same day, 2 in the same morning, right? I don't think that happened before.
I don't remember any stabbings at schools either. People had punch-ups.
Right.
I'm sorry, there's a case in my where I live. There's a case, the local comprehensive. Not the one that Jihadi John went to. The other one. Yeah, you can laugh. But that's the reality. My local schools. I live in a nice area in North London. The local comp. A 12-year-old boy was stabbed. 2 14-year-old boys that were arrested for that crime last year.
It's absolutely shocking. And I think the thing is, when people say, "Oh, violent crime is down," right? It's because we don't categorise it
Well, the
adequately. What they
teenagers
mean
didn't
is there's
carry
fewer people
knives
having
or
punch-ups
anything.
outside pubs, right?
I mean,
Clear
I've done a
closing
lot of
time,
silly things
two
when I
lads
was teenager.
have a bit of
When I went
knockabout.
out
That's one
nicking
bit of violent
bottles and
crime.
makeup. I'm
A
not
vicious
saying
knife attack or
it's
stabbing in a
it's
school,
okay.
that's a violent
I'm
crime.
going to say
right?
I'm not
They're
saying
the
it was
same.
okay,
And yet,
but
you know,
we
if
did
you've
not
got three
harm
fewer
nobody.
punch-ups but one more school stabbing,
I like you.
violent crime is down.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we never stabbed anybody.
It's just extraordinary. I mean, whenever we talked about, any sort of a school attack in America, and the idea
God,
that
when
children
we were
have to have
kids,
drills in
the
their
little
schools in America, or what to
public
do
bush
if there's
eater fall
someone,
over,
a
that'd be
shooter
it.
who comes in. And also, how
And
the
that's the
hell,
boys, my
how
oldest
does
one used to come with his
how does
holes in his
anybody
pants
take
all the
their
time,
kids, leave their kid at the
rumbling
school
about,
gate,
you know, having a punch
and
on the
go
field or
off to
whatever.
work and just hope that their kid comes back alive, But we gave
Especially
that
with
point.
boys, you just
We
come over
gave-
and
we had
dig on
other
their eye or
incidents
whatever.
near schools, or in
You know,
schools
but
in the last
nothing
year.
that used to be
extraordinary.
hardcore like
But
this.
look, let's
No, mate,
and
this
let's
is
get your
hard. This
reaction
is
to that. Give us a
hardcore,
call
man.
0344 499 1000. Does anyone, seriously, does anyone,
I wonder,
around
yeah.
my age or Henry's
Well,
age,
we know
I
he's
mean,
not.
do-
We
does
know he's
anyone
not
ever
been
remember
born
people
here
being
now, don't
stabbed
we?
at
You come
school?
off one of these boats. So I
I
wonder if
just
they're going
don't
to
think that was
deport
a
the
thing. I
bastard.
just don't think that was a thing.
Yeah, well, let's
But
deport
let's go
him.
back to this
Please send
horrific
him back to his
case
own
of this
country. We've got jails in their own country, so please
this
send them
horrific
to the
crime
jails in
in
their own
in
country.
Belfast. I was mentioning
Why don't we pay
earlier,
for
just
that?
extraordinary
We can pay for the
copy
jails in
BBC,
their own
BBC.co.uk, biggest news website in the country, one of the biggest in the world actually. A man has been taken to hospital with serious injuries following a stabbing in North Belfast. One man has been arrested and remains in custody. I mean, barely any detail at all. Got some MPs saying the incident is quite shocking. And later on, they talk about a gruesome knife attack. But I mean, it is quite extraordinary. I mean, if you haven't seen the video, and I've got to be honest with you, I don't recommend that you do. We have to see the video because I need to know what we're talking about. And it
Well,
is
I do
highly
want to know
gruesome.
what
It
you're
was on
talking about, so
social
I do
media.
want to
Please
see.
advise people not to continue
Just
sharing
say
it
don't
because of the
share.
stress it caused the victim and his family.
No, we should just
But a
share it. It's
man
not going to
who
cause the
is
victim
now
anything,
told
mate.
believed to be
My love.
Somalian, a man in his 30s, arrested.
The victim wants
suspicion
him
of
fucking
attempted murder
publicised
after this
so it
serious
won't
assault
happen
with a
to
knife.
somebody
He is
again.
seen straddling this man,
The
repeatedly
people that have been
stabbing him in
stabbed,
the
love,
head,
they
in the
want
neck, he's
nobody
just
being
neck
stabbed
and
like
back
they've
injuries
been.
in the
And
nose,
especially if the
in
guy
position
does
in the hospital.
survive, he's not going to
He's
want
alive,
anybody else
thank
going
goodness
through
he's on
that.
video.
Especially
And then
knowing what
while
Henry's
on
just
video
fucking gone
shouting
through,
to
love.
him to get off him,
Fucking
calling him a
hell.
rat. This man, he shouts some words, and that's how they've been able to identify that he was Somalian. He certainly wasn't
Don't
British.
care that. I
He
hope
wasn't
he get
an
deported.
English. He
No
certainly wasn't
excuse.
speaking English, and it certainly wasn't a British
Well,
accent.
I was going to say,
He
well,
saw
it's
a
no
UK
excuse not to
accent.
deport him.
He then proceeds very
No excuse not to
very
deport this
calmly
one. You could deport that one.
To basically
Well, there's no
attempt to
excuse,
just
is there?
saw this man's
Absolutely
head.
fucking
And at
none.
this point, once someone
There's
admits
no
that,
excuse for him not
he's
to be
trying to
deported.
behead him. He's trying to behead him. 3 men go forward.
And
One
sent
man
to jail
with
in
a
his own
wooden
country.
stick with a round, like a bat or something, just smashes
Just
this
get him
man
out the
around
fucking
there.
country.
Incredibly brave.
Deported
Shake
back
that
to
man's
Africa
hand,
where he
probably saved
came
that
from, will we?
victim's life.
Thanks.
Bashing him around the head repeatedly until he falls and to the ground. And then they wrestle with him. The police arrive within seconds of this.
Oh, they
But
did
just
the
a
job a bit
horrific-
better this time, didn't they?
horrific
Because they've got their own people
and
around.
Henry Hill, I mean,
The reason why they did
you know,
that is because they had
it takes
Irish
quite a lot
people
to shock
around
us
him.
these days.
If
But,
you haven't got, if
people
you're in a
ask, "Watch
place
this
where you've
video,"
got
but
no
we can
white
put up- I think we
people,
can put up a
listen,
still
if I'm
of
in a
the
place where I've got no
alleged
white people, I ain't
attacker,
going.
For those who
I'm
are
not
watching
going.
on YouTube,
I don't care.
if we could actually
Fuck
get that
the
up,
money.
that would be great.
I'll have to fucking starve. I'll
But
have
it's
to live on
blurred out.
babies and toast
He's
for the
covered
rest of
in
my
blood.
life.
His hand is covered in blood.
But I'd rather live
He's
on
got
beans
blood
and
spatters
toast
on
than
his
fucking being
clothing,
put in a
and
life
he's
in danger.
holding the knife that he has been
And it's not
allegedly,
because
I have to say
I'm
at this
lazy
point,
and I want to be on job
cutting
money.
this man's head
That's
off.
all, I don't get any money.
This is absolutely
Money.
no wonder we got a statement from the Prime Minister. Even he. The horrific attack in Belfast last night is sickening. I've absolutely no tolerance for abhorrent scenes of violence like this on our streets. My thoughts are first and foremost with the victim, and I thank the first responders, including members of the public who intervened. There's been a demand from Nigel Farage and others that we get full information about this man as soon as possible, particularly his status. Is he in the country legally? Why is he here? Why is he on the streets?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel slightly conflicted about this sort of footage because on the one hand, it is important that we have access to the truth of what happened. We were talking, this BBC report, if you read it, I don't want to repeat your excellent little speech from earlier, but you wouldn't think anything of it, right? You'd think it's some local crime story. But on the other hand, there's an innocent man in that video who I wouldn't want to be seen like that by millions of people if that were to happen to me.
Yeah.
So I'd say it has been seen, and I would urge listeners, if you haven't seen it yet,
I don't
maybe
think the man
think
will
twice
be bothered,
about
mate.
watching
Yeah.
it. But
Listen, I
it is
stopped there.
it is extraordinary. It's distressing very differently to the video that we were talking about last week.
Something like that, and you want it
this
to
one is
get
much
out,
more
and you
visceral.
want people to know.
But you see a lot when you're a news journalist,
It's
right? You see an
because
awful lot of
you
footage
don't
and
want it. You
stills
want
and stuff.
hopefully
And
to
I
get
think
it
it's a combination
stopped
of
happening again.
the barbarity of the violence, but also the fact that it's on a suburban street. There's something about when you see footage like this from another part of the world. Obviously, it's not morally less bad, but it's still like, okay, that's
Ireland, you
somewhere over
fucking
there.
not
It's
bad.
seeing it somewhere where I grew up.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And there is, it's round the corner from me. I'm in Manchester. Blake is round the corner. I live in Bury.
Absolutely. Do you know what? There's so
Blake
much
is
more
about
we're going to be
10
talking
minutes,
about.
15-minute
So
drive.
much more we're going to be talking about.
Couple of minutes, well, 15-minute drive or something. And then it's like you don't know
appear
if
in
seen
the
it in
news.
another country. It's
Kemi
Ireland, you
Badenoch
fucking
has
up
been
it on
asked.
the
She's
other
at a
side
press
of the
conference
world.
at Westminster. She's giving a speech, and she
Ireland
has said that
belongs
she's
to us.
was horrified by the Belfast
Ireland belongs to
incident.
England,
As we don't know
belongs to
the
the
victims
British
yet.
Islands.
We don't know the full identity of the alleged attacker, but we'll bring you any detail on that. I appreciate your calls.
Ireland is our people.
The 91000's number to get in touch. Text us on 87222. Get in touch with us on X at
The
Talk TV.
Ireland,
As I said,
Scotland,
Coast
Wales,
Trust National
in
Text us
English.
WhatsApp network rate message.
We are
Let's
actually
talk
now
about
all
what Kemi
kind
Badenoch
of
had to
brothers,
say
like they've
today,
got
because she's
brothers.
pledging
We're
to
actually all
drive
kind of
identity
brothers.
politics out of public services,
sisters,
like the police,
things.
schools and hospitals. This all comes, of course, after the
Well, we
horrific
have
murder of Henry Novak and the police response. And again,
want
this
him
time
deported.
last week we were discussing, nothing
Deport,
else for the next few
deport.
days.
There's
The
no
horrific body cam
excuse.
image that was
There's
released
no
last Monday
excuse. He's
night.
not a secret.
last
He's
week.
a Muslim, but we don't know. But
She's spoken out.
he's
We know
African.
the public
There's no
service is
excuse. If
responsible
he's come off
for
a
Kemi
boat
Badenoch,
as
I
well,
say, lots of
which
criticism
more
of the
likely
fact I thought
looks
this
like he
initial
has.
video was absolutely bang
Right,
on about.
so then
we
they
should
want
have,
to
you know,
deport him.
pure cold rage about what happened to Henry Novak, not just the murder, but
Deport.
also
We don't
the
want to
treatment
deport
by
to
the
England. We
police.
want to deport back
And
to Africa.
the view that actually, you know,
Send
these
him to
DEI,
Rwanda to
diversity,
the jail
equity,
in Rwanda.
equality
We got jails in Rwanda. We paid all that lovely money.
Inclusion. I mean, it's such nonsense. It's meaningless,
Rwanda.
stupid words. No wonder I can't remember them.
And then we
So
didn't
how
get
much
anything
this
with that, and now we're getting everybody
of
stabbed up
the
because
police
that's what
to
the
do their
government
job.
want.
You know, the NHS to protect, their nurses from being watched, get into their bra and knickers by a predatory man.
stabbed up or battered to death in their lung.
the most basic stuff. And Kemi Badenoch says she wants to end it in the public sector. She
Well, how
wants to
do
do
you
that.
know?
She says by scrapping the public
These Sikhs
sector
are allowed to carry the
equality
knife that
duty.
bigger than
That's part of
myself,
the,
and then
of
telling
the
it's for
Equality Act
religion,
2010
and then
brought
telling
by
us
Levy. She
oh,
said
it's
that's
protect
part of the problem.
themselves.
She says she wants to
So
sweep
there's
away this rubbish,
confidence,
bring back common
lies
sense.
there
She says
as
whatever
well.
the original intention of the duty, in practice, she says,
They're
it's
all
become a
lying.
minefield that exposes almost every public decision to legal challenge and leads to ludicrous outcomes. So it
Yeah.
requires public bodies to consider how they impact on people with protected
Because they're all
characteristics like
foreigners
race
that
and
are
gender.
working in
Bearing
the
in
fucking
mind, the
public
one thing that's absolutely
places.
not protected
As the
characteristic is
police or
being
anybody else,
white.
then we
It's only
can't
white
fucking...
man. I think I come
So you
under
can't
woman,
basically,
you don't care. I mean, I'm a straight white woman. I come under
sue
woman, you
anybody,
straight white
hold
man,
anybody
you
account, because they're all
frankly, no one cares
cooperations.
about you. That's for sure. Now, of course, we need equality laws
all
to
about
make sure
the
someone
company.
doesn't get turned down for a job or not allowed to rent a flat because they're gay or black or
Well, why do you have to
disabled
say
or
if you're
something
gay
like
or
that.
black or
But-
not? Why do they,
but
anybody needs
it's
to know
clearly
that
gone too far. We
anyhow?
had an absurd situation, something
They
that she
need to
has
know.
mentioned, where we had a
If you're
the
gay
convicted
or
terrorist
married or not
Sayed
married, if you've got
Abu,
children,
he
if you've not got
successfully
children,
sued the
your
government
job
last year.
doesn't need to
He
know
and
that.
other
All your job needs to know is your name,
convicted
your address,
terrorists
and
were
if you're
segregated
capable
in
of doing
prison
your
after
job or
the
not.
brutal attack on prison guards by
Without
Hashim
breaking
Abedi,
the
the
law.
brother of the Manchester Arena
Exactly,
suicide
that's all
bomber.
they need to know.
And
They don't need to
basically
know if I'm
segregate
fucking gay or
potential
single or married or not.
attackers who are
That's
Islamist terrorists.
Private.
But this was claimed
That's your
it
private
breaks
life.
the public sector equality duty
If you
because
want to be
they
gay,
were
be gay. If you don't want to be gay, don't be gay.
Yeah.
But he, that guy
It is
don't belong
insane.
here.
And actually, what I'm
Come
going to do
off a
here, I'm going to try
fucking
and
boat. Let's see if
make
we
a
can
slightly better
talk.
case than Richard Tice for why you should repeal the
They've
Equality
got,
Act.
they've got
right?
no excuse.
Because
I don't give a
actually, all the
fuck.
things that you were talking
The
about,
Equality
perfectly
Act.
legitimate uses for
The
equality
Equality
legislation, making sure that public buildings are accessible to disabled people, making sure that an employer can't refuse you a job for being black or a woman. Do you know what all of these things were? They were all illegal in 2010, before the Equality Act came in. Right? This was one of the puzzling things about the Equality Act. Labour had been in power for 13 years. They brought it in a few months before they left office, basically as a trap for the Tories.
Yeah.
And a lot of those earlier
And I
pieces
said
of
they've
equality
been trapping the
legislation,
Tories
they were very
because they've
sensible.
made them
The
fail.
Equal Pay Act, passed by Barbara Castle in the 70s, focused on the same job right? None
Yeah.
of this equal value.
Yeah.
Which is right. The idea that emptying the bins at 4 a.m. is the same as being a dinner lady at 1 a.m. 1 p.m. is-
Barbara Castle explicitly said that when she passed the Equal Pay Act. She was like, equal value is a nonsense. And yet, when you bundle it all together into the Equality Act, you create these very vague statements that basically give public officials license to invent new equality law
Yeah.
all of the time. So actually, going back, getting rid of the public sector equality duty, a very good start. But honestly,
Get rid of all of
identify
it.
the important areas that are where you do
Human
need
rights,
equality
we've got no
protections,
human
and then
rights.
just have very
Fuck
specific
that.
legislation the way we used to. For guaranteeing those
Simple.
protections. Don't pass. The Equality Act is an example of
Go
what I
back
consider
to
to be a terrible
simple
type
ways,
of
mate.
legislation.
Pen and
The
paper, I
Nice
think,
Word
of it.
Act.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
They're using all
It's
sorts of
extraordinary,
words,
isn't it? By
aren't
the way,
they?
just an update on that school, the Co-op Academy in Manchester.
Subject to that.
The report is actually that 3 pupils were stabbed,
Yep.
and the police said that a schoolgirl has
stabbing.
been arrested. But the victim's injuries aren't believed, thank goodness, to be serious. The crowds of parents understandably arrived outside the school as families waited to take their children home. I mean, quite extraordinary. 3 people stabbed in a serious incident, 6 police cars at the scene, helicopter at the scene, students sheltering in their classrooms. At the Co-op Academy in Manchester, school went into complete lockdown. The fact that we even know what that means because of what's been going on in American school shootings, but a schoolgirl has been arrested. I mean, what on earth is going on? What on earth is going on?
Isn't it?
I mean, obviously, when we've only got this many, this little detail about the story, it's difficult to know exactly what's motivated this particular case. But do you know what I'm curious about? Say it's a school.
Anyone gets stabbed in a school?
Yeah.
That deserves the phrase. What on earth is going
no, I
on?
wasn't disputing that for a moment. I was just saying, explaining why I couldn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
But what I am going to be quite interested in is you say that it's a school girl that's been arrested for this, right? Now, do you remember where adolescents? All of the times that we were told that this entirely fictitious case needed a deeper contemplation of the evils of boys in schools, right? I want to see what Sir Keir Starmer has to say about the fact that it was a young woman who tried to perpetrate this crime.
Well, allegedly. Well, again,
Well, they shouldn't have been allowed to play that. This is why they wanted to ban all this in. Now they played out. So they've shown all the kids that. So all the kids, well, don't do that.
And we're all told we have to refer to them as a
So
school
just
girl.
taught all the kids
I'm
violence.
not saying that is the case.
That is true.
I'm just saying, I can't trust anything I read in mainstream media anymore.
No.
I mean, I haven't thought of that. That's a perfectly good
But
point.
that's the thing. I certainly can't trust any government anymore. I have to say,
No.
genuinely, this
Okay,
I find this utterly extraordinary. That £28 billion, according to a catalogue study, this is leaked to the Daily Telegraph, but £28 billion of our money, our tax money, people have gone out every day,
Because
got up
they're
in the
terrorists,
morning,
they are terrorists.
done their job, often not enjoyed their job very much, and not paid well. They paid taxes.
So we're funding
and
it.
that money is
This
gone
is the tax
to
bill for
it
Allah.
will turn out 28 billion of it over the period of 2015 to 2021, over a 6-year period, to basically the hands of.
So we're paying something, and we've
people
also
wishing
got these
Britain harm.
bastards in
We're
the
looking
country.
at terrorists,
Well, don't know what's
including
happened with
Islamic
that.
State, ISIS, millions
And
going
is it
to
an
Russia,
English school?
a hostile
Is it-
nation
is it
state,
an
to
English
companies
girl?
that have
Or
basically got
not
close
being
links
funny,
with the
mixed
Chinese
race kid.
military. We're looking
A
at payments
Muslim, a
going to
black kid,
gangsters or organised
white kid.
criminals. That money cannot be recovered. No one who took it is being punished. How on earth this money was handed over is quite an extraordinary thing. They basically just took advantage of an awful lot of these very lax handout schemes, not just during COVID, but
then again,
others. But the report was commissioned by security officials in 2023. It was going to be shared with mandarins
still have a
across
right
the
to tell
government,
us
including in the Foreign Office.
what race
And after it emerged that
have a right to tell us what race they are.
this about widespread fraud and abject
gonna
lack
say
of
with it being a
control over
teenager,
how our money
probably
was
give
spent,
all the
they
details
basically
for him.
decided that the report was so damning, they decided not to disclose it.
But
Now,
they should do.
who the hell do these people think they are?
Yeah.
I would say we have a legal right. National Audit Office should have been given this document. We need to know where is your money spent. One of the many reasons I wanted to leave the EU was because the EU. I think even to this day, I think that they've had their accounts signed off for 20 years at the point in which we left
look
or
at
voted
fucking
to
Brussels,
leave.
look at the fucking Europe.
Because so much there's billions
Well,
spinning
it's getting
around,
scary. I
hundreds,
can tell
and
myself
it
now,
just gets
don't
slopped here, slopped
I
there.
will
They
still
don't
say
spend it well.
when
It's
he's kept
people's
too much
hard-earned
out.
money. They don't get it from nowhere.
They will talk about
And
it.
they didn't really care. And there was so
Because they use
so
what
much
talk
corruption
about it,
in
I
the
mean,
EU, and clearly an awful lot of
very
corruption here.
rarely talk
And no
about
one
King
cares.
Charles.
No one's being
About
prosecuted.
what
We're not
he's
trying to
doing.
get the money back, and they're just going to cover it up.
Well, who's going to prosecute
Am I
King
supposed to just
Charles?
go on with that?
I mean, I don't know if it's sort of optimism thinking it's corruption as opposed to incompetence. The thing
King
about
Charles is just
both of
as
these
politically
is,
involved.
yeah, it's not surprising if you had to pick two things where this kind of thing was happening,
What about
COVID
Prince Andrew
and foreign aid,
the
because they're
files
both
and
places
everything
where the
else?
government was shoveling money out of the door without regard really to how it was
really
spent.
funny.
Now, one of those, for both problems, is much more defensible than the other. In COVID, they were having to react very
should be allowed
quickly
nothing.
to unexpected circumstances. They'd shut down the economy.
They
Obviously, you
should
should
shut
police
down
this, but
King
some
Charles. They should
mistakes.
shut down
clearly
Prince
made.
Andrew as well.
Foreign aid, on the other hand,
You shouldn't be
was
allowed
simply
nothing, mate.
running
It should be on
for
the fucking
years,
steam,
right?
won't
And
it?
it's because they had a spending-based target, not an outcome-based target. The
Probably
department simply had to make sure it
probably
spent the
yeah,
money
probably
to hit the
it's
target.
allowed any
right?
home.
And there's an
Fucking on
amazing
job
story
seekers.
in Rory Stewart's
Well, not even that.
autobiography where he says that he identified
He
somebody
doesn't
that was
pay
going to a deeply problematic group, shall we say, in
Because
Afghanistan.
he was
Afghanistan,
he had some sort of
Yeah.
role running a province in
So we're paying all
That
this
was in
money
Iraq,
out,
I think.
and then
But
they're all
he-
here
but
anyway.
He had a lot of experience in
Yeah.
Afghanistan. He walked across it, and he said, "Right, this is British government money
King
going to this
Charles
group, which is actually
as well.
linked to terrorism." And basically,
Linked
the
to
Foreign Office
terrorism, they're all
completely killed off
terrorists.
any attempt to by him to stop that money. And it later turned out, of course, when he was proven right. And this group did end up on the government didn't acknowledge it done anything wrong. It just quietly, eventually, 2 years late, did what he said.
Yeah.
So there was deep groupthink. I
Quietly
think the
did what
only
he said.
note of caution I have about the idea that this sort of document should be mandatorily public
King Charles
is
was
you need to make sure,
around
if
then,
that's the case, that
trying
it's
to
still
make it out it
commissioned,
wasn't the
right?
King
Because as
Charles.
far as I'm aware, this is the kind of thing that a government
Queen
or a civil
Elizabeth
servant,
didn't do
it doesn't
shit,
get
it was
produced
King Charles
automatically. It has to
down,
be commissioned and looked into. So
She was the
make
one that
sure
went out
if the
and told
National
the
Audit,
people.
maybe give the National Audit Office actually the right to initiate its
It's way in
own
here.
audits
Yeah.
Passed
of
away a
government
long time
accounts
ago.
without
Before
ministerial
it
sign-off.
But yes, but I
Right
mean,
about
goodness
that.
me, I mean, you know, they need to know about it in the first place, don't they? Look, let's take
Right.
a quick break. There's so much more I want to talk about. I mean, we're going to get to it later, actually, just very briefly. A review report suggesting from a think tank that university is a waste of money. Half of graduates
Yeah.
earn below the average wage. 5 years now
So
after
just
just
scrap
finished
the
uni, you might be
fucking
like,
lot,
oh,
shut the
interesting.
skills
You know,
down
things that,
because they're not
you know,
safe. Shut fucking schools down because they're not safe either. Shut the schools down. Fucking close them bastard universities down, that'll be saving money. All of that'll save money, won't it? And it'll save all these ideologies going on anymore. Eh? Ah, thought it said 3 days ago.
Britain's on edge, Europe's on edge, and Belfast
Everywhere
is
is on edge,
definitely
thank
on
you.
edge. It's about to erupt. We're not just
Brussels,
talking a
Europe is
disagreement.
gone.
We're not just talking
Italy,
a street fight.
France,
We're talking
fucking
an
Germany,
attempted murder.
Greece,
We're talking about actually
Turkey.
trying to remove someone's head.
Brussels, Finland,
It's
Sweden.
disgusting. An African migrant has attacked a local in
I
Belfast.
always put Spain.
And there's talks
Gone.
that large
The whole
groups
of
are
Europe.
starting to gather, and I don't blame them.
I mean,
I'm Craig, a former British soldier,
from
and
Turkey,
if you could like,
fucking
share, subscribe,
Finland.
turn notifications bell on, and if you could hype the video,
Gone.
it'd be hugely
Literally
appreciated.
near enough.
People have had enough.
Yep, and we have to change
And for
it,
obvious
mate.
reasons, I'm not going to show you this graphic video on YouTube.
And I
It's
can hear what
circulating
they're
online, you
background
can
on
see
the
it
phone.
everywhere.
Ah,
But I do warn you, watch it with caution.
I am.
Because like I said, this isn't a street fight.
No, this is dangerous.
This is someone pinning someone down, and with a Stanley knife, you can then picture the rest. There's blood everywhere. You think humanity is completely lost. Borders are open, violence is
departed.
constantly on our streets. But there
They've got to
is
depart him. There's no
some
reason for
hope.
them not to.
Because while
They
the
have to.
attack was going on, locals
I know,
did
for that fact,
rush
he was with.
to save the man's
Well,
life.
I'm gonna say,
An
mate,
attack.
yes, but because they were Irish people, like the Irish people. What I'm telling people, if you're in an area and it's only Muslims or any of them, if there's no white people or our only people, and maybe it depends in what area you're in with the white people as well, because some of them are a bit bastards as well. You know, if you're like in Manchester with the white people and the blacks and the orangutans or wherever, you're fucked. No one will help you. No one will help you. If you live some white people like the Irish, then you possibly might, they will help. But most of the times, then people will try their best to help. You know what I mean? But if you're in their community and there isn't any white person about, fuck that, you're getting no one will help you. They'll leave you to die. They'll leave him. If he was in a black majority area, he would have had his head chopped off. It's only because he's in the Irish area, and the Irish, they probably, whatever, maybe because it's in a street and they can see it, thinking, what the fuck's that, or whatever, and you know what I mean, and people have come running out of their house or whatever.
And remove the migrant from the local.
Yeah, well, we're wanting removed from the country. There's no excuse.
Locals did rush to save the man's life and attack and remove the migrant from the local.
Good.
It did take a few of them and a couple of police officers.
Good, but they
And I
have
have
to keep
seen
kicking, mate. I'm
reports
sorry.
that hopefully the
I don't give
guy
a fuck if I get arrested.
is still alive. I don't know how true that is.
I know,
We're
but
still
if
watching
if
it.
I'm in that situation,
But if you do watch the video, if you do the scenes, see the scenes that have unfolded,
I have to wear steel toe
it
caps
really
next time I
makes
swear
you
I can.
worried for the locals, for humanity, for our family,
I have
and
got
for our
steel toe cap
children.
boots, so I'll get used to wearing them.
Like I said, it's nice to see people actually rush in and help the guy instead of just stand there and film it on their phones. Because we've seen it in the past where there's a horrific attack going on. And instead of people rushing in, and yes, I know you've got to risk your life, they just stand there with their phones and
Yeah,
post it
but that's
online.
because
But
he was
what
with
does
his own
this say
people.
for the safety of our children, safety of our families, our friends, our
Ourselves.
colleagues? Because he hasn't just had a disagreement and punched the guy. He's genuinely tried to remove a body part. It's disgusting. It's sickening. And something needs to be done about it.
Yeah. And
The
they're not
streets
gonna
aren't
do
safe,
nothing.
we know
Yeah,
that.
we
We've
know.
got our own issues going on. It's even worse when you've got people like this doing
We've got
something
deep
as
part- we're
horrific
deep
as
part-
this
we're in
to
part,
one of
innit?
the locals, to someone in your community. And like I said, Belfast is now on edge. They're not ones to stand around and just let
No
this
one's
happen.
glad. I mean, I
They
need
will
their
fight
help.
back.
Yeah, well, I need
They will
Belfast.
gather.
They need to
They
come to
will
England and help us.
protest. And they will try to bring an end to it.
Yeah, but they
And I
don't.
don't blame them.
Yeah, I get the
People have
protest.
had
That
enough.
a lot of people locked up, so there's
This
no
can
point.
go on
And
no
go on.
longer.
It can go on no longer. That's
So
why
we'll
we've
have
got
to
to get
wait
to
and
King
see what
Charles.
happens in Belfast.
Chop his head off.
Because they're not going to take this lightly.
They want to do it.
And what we're going to
The
see,
jihads.
it's going to spread.
Yes.
We're already seeing it
And
in
mate,
the
it's
UK.
going to get worse because this is how serious it's going to get down to. Jihads want to take over the Colosseum and they want to chop the Pope's head off. And then they're going to use the Colosseum as a bloodbath for anything. And then it ain't just going to be there because we've got this here. But this is only tiny compared to what's really going on if they get hold of the Pope and chop his head off. They're already in control. We haven't got government. We've got terrorist organisation. People stop saying we've got governments. We've got a terrorist organisation controlling things, controlling the country, controlling the government. The terrorists, jihads, they're controlling Labour. Controlling the king. King Charles has changed his religion to Islam. He's had money off Qatar and he's done all this with the Oxford University, 93, 86 and 93, 96, 97. He won't do an Easter speech because he thinks he's going to upset Muslims, Islam, Allah, because he's not allowed to pray to God, because he's give up his religion. He also won't eat meat because he will only eat halal meat. That's why he's selling halal meat. There's the evidence coming, because Google and AI keeps telling me there's no evidence. Well, the evidence is there. I don't need fucking the document. The evidence is piling up and piled up and piled up with him. He's sinned the Bible. He's a murderer, King Charles. He's corrupted. He is the devil poltergeist. He's the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. We need to get talking about him. And the Irish, we need, no, because it is their king as well. It's to do with Britain, King Charles. Prince of Wales. He's never been the Prince of Wales. I don't even know why he's the fucking King of England. He's fucking German, Gotha. And Greek. And his granddad or whatever is a criminal. Was. And everything else. And fucking Victoria, she was a wicked witch. Went into mourning and went into wearing black for the rest of her life and then put a sin on this country. She was a fucking evil bitch. King Charles is not a nice man. They fucking created Hitler. They created Jack the Ripper. They are the devils controlling things. Well then, anybody got any ideas on who's above King Charles and who is meant to hold King Charles to responsibility? Because King Charles was meant to do a thing about the government and get rid of fucking Keir Starmer, but he didn't do shit. Does anybody remember that speech King Charles did for the government, Parliament? No, because he's involved. Epstein. He's involved with that. Jimmy Savile are involved with that. The Queen was not as nice as everybody thought. She was corrupted. And she also passed away a long time ago. And King Charles has been operating for the Queen, pretending he wasn't the king. Operating behind the scenes, doing all the things for the Queen. Managing it all. He's been doing it for a very, very long time. He changed his... I think he changed his religion before he met Princess Diana. He killed Princess Diana. He did that because basically married his cousin as well. Camilla is his cousin. She's a witch as well. Camilla is his cousin. Maybe that was his state... Well, he changed to being Islam before he killed Diana. He might have not killed her personally. He set it up. He did. And then married his cousin. And then, all the money and everything he's been giving to Islam. Allowing fucking Islam into the Church of England. Jihads. Now, well, to me, the people, we need to rise up and people need to rise up. Don't be scared. Why is people scared about talking about King Charles? I'm not fucking scared. No mercy. I don't feel guilty and there'll be no mercy. And AI keeps telling me I'm advocating violence. No, it's advocating politically. Death for sin in the Bible. Death for murder. Death for being a paedophile. Death for treason. 10 Commandments. That's not violent. I'm going off what the 10 Commandments say. And for a king, kings have had their heads chopped off before by the people.
And in Southampton, people have had enough and they're taken to the streets. And I promise you, it's only going to get worse unless they do something about it. Unless they can make the streets a little safer. It's not going to be 100%, we know that. But if they can make it safer, if they can bring safety to our children and our families, then maybe people will live a little bit happier. But that's not going to happen until we have outright change.
In Southport, when that happened, if he got the death penalty, if he had the death penalty, this won't be happening. We need death penalty.
We need better.
We want the death penalty for anybody that stabs anybody and murders somebody. I don't care what colour they are, what race they are. I don't care what beliefs they have, or what they don't have.
We can see a lot more.
Don't care if they're gay, not gay,
guarantee you that.
purple hair, brown hair, blonde hair.
Thank you for your support. Remember to like, share and subscribe.
The next person that stabs someone, they get murdered, they die, then they get the death penalty. That's what I'd say.
And thank you to our video sponsor.
Before we get into today's video, I just want to talk to you about digital
Watch what happens
security.
here now. Nothing will happen to him either. Nothing will happen.
In November 2020,
it won't. They won't do shit. They'll do fuck all. Bloody fuck. They won't do anything. See what the police have got to say in Belfast then. And we want the body footage of the police and everything. I want body cams now. From now on, we need to demand them body cams off the police. That's why I need to do. If I ever get locked up ever again, I'm demanding it. So then I know what they're locking up for, I know what they've done, and I know what they haven't done. Like, because people like they, we don't know what they could do with the bodies. We don't know. I mean, we left poor Henry to die like that, so fuck knows what they've been doing all the other times, the police. I don't trust any of them, and I definitely don't trust King Charles. He's the one that needs to go first. Poltergeist needs to go fucking first. You have to execute that bastard. Don't give a fuck. The devil needs to get it. It's not violent, it's not hard, it's the Bible. It's in the Bible, 10 sins, it's death, treason, hand and water, death and attack. That's not violent, that's political. No, that's what King Charles has done to the country, yeah. I mean, there's a few other things they've done. Alright. Murderers themselves, alright, it's not King Charles himself, is it? But he's advocated for it. He's treason the country, it's in the Bible. He's on stolen land. Because he's on the wrong island. They've stolen people's money and properties and livelihoods. They've lied about who they are in the first place. Trying to pretend they're the royal family and that. They're called the Gothel family. Say the royal family. And I suggested he is Greek, partly Greek. King Charles, the Greek goddess won't be fucking happy, will they? He sinned against them as well. The Greek gods. The gods of the Greek. He sinned the Quran anyway, so it doesn't matter, he sinned them all. Well, black magic, murder. So it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran. So death.